Jesus fulfilled his assignment. And Jesus said, "Come, follow me." Our journey here is but a moment in time. I hope you recognize that your journey here on earth, your journey here in Bethel, your journey here is but a moment in time. We are eternal beings. We are a spirit within a soul inside an earth suit. I like to call this our earth suit. You know, when you go to space, you need to use a space suit. God sent you into an earth suit because our body was given to us to complete an assignment. This means it is vitally important for you to find out what is your assignment. The clues are in the tools you have been given. That is your gifts, your talents, your calling, your passion. Pastor Jerry mentioned just now, you can choose to live at 0 actually. At least you're not at 20 in death, right? At least I'm not at 70 in death, I'm at 0, I'm living. No. God wants you to live fully, wholly, 100%. You know, I told my children, when you sing, give it all you've got. You get one chance in your earth suit. Here on earth, I implore you, I urge you, give it all you've got. When we started Bethel, we said that, you know, and this was out of Pastor Jerry being a Harley rider. You know, Harley rider, they have some cut or whatever they call it, which signifies which gang they belong to, which group they are part of. When you show that, they know, our group, very good. And we said, you know, but when you have that kind of thing, it excludes people also. People feel, yo, I don't have, I don't belong. You know something? We said, when we start this, and we knew God had called us to start this church, when we start this, we won't have any cut. When you come into Bethel, whether you're here for one project, one event, 1 week, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3.5 years, while you are here, give it all you've got. That's it. And when it's over, we didn't think it would be over so soon, but when it's over, you know you've given it all you've got. And that is what I talk about today. If you realize that God has given you tools in order for you to fulfill an assignment, then you won't worry. You won't be concerned. What's happening? Why are you shaking the ground that I'm on? I feel so challenged. How can Pastor Jerry say that? I'm so upset with him. But remember, your home is with the Lord. That is one person who will never, ever leave you. Wherever you may go, you know that He is always with you. So when you look at yourself, when you look at your life, when you look at the words that have been spoken over your life, they are clues. They are clues to your calling. They are clues to your assignment. You know the bestseller, Purpose Driven Life by Dr. Rick Warren. It starts out with these words. It's not about you. It's not about you. Your calling is not for you. You are not on earth to be happy. I must be happy. Then I know I am fulfilled. No, it's not about you. Your calling on earth is not to achieve nirvana, peace of mind. Oh, then I have completed and fulfilled my assignment. You are here to fulfill God's purpose because He handcrafted you. He put the things inside you in order for you to be a blessing to this earth. You know, Pastor Jerry, this is your last message to Bethel. Think carefully what you want to share. And I want to tell you, if there's one thing I want to leave with you, if we can reprogram or reboot our system so it gets this message, we would save ourselves a lot of grief, a lot of unnecessary problems. You are part of a master plan. You are intricately crafted, handcrafted. You know, things that are handcrafted are worth much more. As I found out when I did my Christmas shopping, the handcrafted things are one of a kind. Not factory outlet, no. is one of a kind. And those are the things that are very costly. You have tools to complete your part in the master's plan. Many times in our journey here, we forget that we are part of a bigger plan. We become distracted by our affairs on earth. We become consumed by our fears and uncertainties. So I want you to remember this program. This is the program for reboot, okay? Reboot program. You must remember this and reboot your system. We have a master. He has the plan. The master plan. Sometimes we live in our own little world. We think this is all there is. We get engrossed in our children. We want them to have the best schools, the best success. We want to give them all the tools they need to succeed. God has given you all the tools you need to succeed in accomplishing your assignment. We get engrossed in our partners, our husband, our wife, our work, our fights with our family members, how to become successful in this world, our struggle to make ends meet. We want to make a name for ourselves. We want to create a happy home. We want to be fulfilled. But let me tell you, I want you to remember this program whenever you need to. And I'm going to help you to remember this. You know the song? I have an apple. I have a pen. My children told me this song, apple pen. Oh my God, how annoying. But we have a master. He has a plan. The master plan. Will you remember that? We have a master. He has the plan. Pam, pam, the master plan. Remember this. And you see that silly song, remember this, get it reprogrammed in your mind. I'm telling you, you will find, and I'm telling you, I'm prophesying to you, there are times when you're going to be up life, and then suddenly this song will come on the radio, or your friend will show you, will send you on YouTube link, and then you remember. You have he has the master plan. Remember that. You don't get to see or even comprehend this plan. Right? Somebody who has the master plan, he knows everything from A to Z, from this corner to this corner, all around. He knows because he is the master. He has the plan, the master plan, the blueprint. His plan involves this whole world. This baby was born to save the world, not just you, me, us four and no more. Have you heard that? People pray, father, mother, and brother and sister, that's it. Don't worry about the rest of the world. Who cares? As long as we are happy, yay! That is not God's plan for us. His plan involves the whole world. It involves all of creation. The Bible says creation is groaning right now for the redemption of the sons. It involves not just human beings. It involves all of creation. It involves heaven on earth and other worlds yet to come. Your job is not to figure out, I got to figure out what the master plan is, man. My goodness. No. Your job is not to figure out the master plan. Your job and my job is to find out my piece in this master plan, your crucial task, your crucial role, and fulfill it. How? One step at a time. One level at a time. If I'm standing here, do you know which way I'm going to go? Do you know whether I'm going to go north, south, east, or west? Left, right, front, or back? Do you know? But when I start taking a step, do you know? You have an idea? I'm going to move in this direction. A step means a direction. When God gives you a step leads to a direction. And when you keep moving in that direction, you keep doing what He is given you to do faithfully, you will get the next set of instructions. Your next direction comes when you finish this direction. My kids and I just watched Jumanji. Did you all have anyone watch Jumanji? All right. Well, anyway, in Jumanji, there's this map. Somebody gets a map. He's a cartographer, so he sees the map. And his map only shows the current step, the current level. They know they have to do something, but they don't know how. But when they complete this part, ta-da! The map reveals the next step. That is how God is with us. We want to know, if I take this step, where are we going to go? If Bethel closes down, how? What's going to happen to me? How can they don't think about me? I tell you, these people simply start and then simply close. I want to assure you, we don't do that. As much as you cry, we have cried. As much as you are struggling, we struggle, but we are determined to obey the Master. He is the Master. He has the plan, the Master plan. Remember that? People often ask, how do I know for sure this is God's will? This is God's direction. I want to encourage you to listen to the last 3 messages that Pastor Jerry shared. It will be made available for you next week. But if you have the links, you can start listening to it. Those 3 messages will answer many of the questions you have about how to know whether it is God speaking to you. But today, we are remembering the birth of Jesus. We want to look at one person's life, Mary. You know the song the children sang just now? Mary, did you know? Did you know all these things would happen? Obviously, she didn't. She didn't know that her son was going to heal the sick, that he would make the lame walk, that he would cause the dead to rise again. She didn't know that her son would do all that. The astounding word that Mary received conveyed her part of the master plan. And we can learn from her life and her journey how we can fulfill our part. Look at Mary's part in the master plan. In Luke chapter 1, verse 26 to 38, it tells us this. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favored, the Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of a greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great. He will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end." "How will this be?" Mary asked the angel, "since I am a virgin?" The angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will come on you. The power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age. And she, who was said to be unable to conceive, is in her 6th month. For no word from God will ever fail." Astounded as she was, Mary's response was, "I am the Lord's servant. Let everything you have said about me come to pass." And then the angel left her. Put yourself in Mary's shoes for a moment. What a word. Firstly, an angel appears to her. Anybody here has seen an angel? No, I haven't seen an angel. I haven't heard angelic voices. That in itself is extraordinary and fight. It's like seeing one raksasa, Angels are not like ordinary, flying with the little wings, Cupid. They are frightening. Some people get struck dumb when they see an angel. They fall as if dead. John did when he saw an angel. But what the angel says raises even more questions in our heart than what Mary indicates. And I know many of you have got questions in your heart about your calling, about your direction, about what God wants to do in your life. But this is what the angel tells her. You have found favor with God. Do you think Mary was chosen on a whim? God was looking around. Wow, very cute, that girl. So sweet. So nice. She's prancing around, jumping, looking at the flowers. Oh, I love that girl. No. He chose her for a reason. Look at her descent. Who is she in the line of? This talks about Joseph, but Mary was also from the line of David. Mary was also from a line of David. And by the way, she wasn't 30 when she was chosen. She was a young girl of not more than 16, probably 15, 14. What were you doing when you were 12, 13? My son is almost 12. 13, 14, 15. And God comes to you with a word like this. This girl had found favor with God. Now, she was not a great prophetess like Miriam, right? She wasn't a great mighty judge like Deborah. She had not done anything magnificent. Yet, she had found favor with God. Some of you look at your lives and think, you know, I'm not a great person. I don't have all these talents and gifts. Who am I? You too can find favor with God. How did Mary find favor with God? She was faithfully doing what God had put in her hand to do. Faithfully doing her chores. Faithfully obeying her parents. Faithfully playing her role in her household. Very boring, yeah? Very monotonous. But because she was faithful, she found favor with God. God is looking for faithfulness in the things that He has given you. Be faithful. When no one is looking, be faithful. When it hurts, be faithful. Without rewards, without acclaim, be faithful. Because faithfulness finds favor. Proverbs 3 verse 2 to 6 tell us, do not let goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and truth leave you. Bind it around your neck. Write it on the tablet of your heart, so you will find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men. Do you want favor? Do you want to have good understanding? Do you want favor with God? Do you want favor with men? Then do not let goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and truth leave you. Bind it around your neck. Write it on the tablet of your heart. Trust in the Lord. This is no accident that this verse comes immediately after this. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. You acknowledge God by being faithful in the things He put in your hand to do. That's how you acknowledge God. You say, God, I believe that this is what I am going to be a faithful daughter. I will be a faithful son. I will be a faithful employee. I will be a faithful boss. I will be a faithful mom. I don't have to be great, but being faithful in what He has called you to do will cause you to find favor in God's eyes. Jesus too pleased His Father. He too found favor with the Father before He healed one single person, before He had done one miracle, before He had preached one message, before He had had one convert. God said of Him, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, before Jesus had done anything that the world can see. Many times, faithfulness calls for you to do things and continue doing things when it is hard. When no one sees, you continue. You carry on. Because there is one who does see. You have a master. He has the plan. The master plan. You don't have to accomplish or do great things to find favor with God. Be obedient. Be faithful. Just be faithful with what He has called you to do now. You be a faithful child. If your teacher tells you to do homework, you do your homework. Don't let that be the last thing you do. Let that be the first thing you do. If your parents tell you do something, do that first. Obey the authorities that God has placed in your life. That is so important. So difficult at times, but so important. It is one of those golden threads that God He's looking to find. Whether He can move you on to the next step. You are asking for direction. Let me ask you, are you faithful in what God is calling you to do now? You want direction? You need to accomplish this step, complete this level, then He moves you on to the next. You know, you are worried, God, what about the time? How do I know? I'm getting old already, you know. I want to be a wife. I want to be a husband. You know, I want to find success in my job. I'm working so hard. Are you watching? Huh? You know, you think, is God really watching? Does He know? I want to assure you, God knows the place. God knows the time. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Do not try and maneuver here and maneuver there. Make sure something happens. No. Be faithful in what He has called you to do. He shall direct your path. Every part of your journey is essential for the next step. A baby learns, how does a baby learn to run and walk? First, he must learn to, first he's staying still in the bed. Then he turns over. Wow, massive milestone. The baby can turn over now. Fantastic job. Parents clap, 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 clap. Then after that, the baby must crawl, isn't it? The baby must crawl. Sometimes baby crawl just one leg crawling. Have you seen the babies? They're very funny. All the funny different ways of crawling, but they are moving. Last time on the bed, just like waiting for somebody. Next, now they can turn over. Then they are crawling. After they crawl, they stand, right? They have to hold on to something to stand. And then they take a few faltering steps. Badam, they fall down. But they have taken a few steps from sleeping on the bed, not moving at all. Now they can stand, they can take 2 steps. Then they run. Every part of the process is important. You move on to the next process by letting go of this. Have you seen some babies? They're trying to walk, but very slow. Get back to crawling. Go back to the old ways, because it's easier. It's easier. But you know, you have to let go of what is familiar to move on to the next phase. You think it's scary for the baby to start letting go of this in order to take a few steps? Don't want to let go, right? So scary, I might fall flat on my face, and the baby does fall flat on its face. But that doesn't stop the child. That has not stopped any of you. You're walking, you're running now. You have to let go of what is familiar. Some babies are rushing to run before they can walk. Some babies skip crawling altogether. Right? Amazing. But they fall over far more. They hurt themselves a lot, but they learn. They learn. Sometimes we want the comfort of the familiar. I found a home in Bethel. I love it here. I enjoy all the friends that I see. I love coming here every week. I hear the word of God. I'm so excited and encouraged. You know, when the Lord moves the pastors on, the same thing that's happening in our lives is happening in your lives. He's moving you on also, because you are ready to run. You know, the Bible says sometimes you have to wait, right? And then, after you have waited, then you can run. You will walk and not faint. You will mount up with wings like eagles. This has been a time of feeding, growing, strengthening. You know, you grow and strengthen to do something. I heard a preacher share something once, it was just so funny. It's come to me now. You know, have you seen those muscle bodybuilders? They build their muscles so big, gigantic, muscle upon muscle upon muscle, right? What's the purpose of that? So that they can go, oh! 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 Have you seen? What is the purpose of that? God has given you muscle upon muscle upon. It's not here so that we can look at each other and go, whoa! It's not for that purpose. He has given us muscles for what reason? He wants you to go and encourage others. The words that you have received, it's to speak it out into other lives, to change, to effect change in other people. No more. Oh, we are not coming into church for that. We have to let go of the familiar in order to move on to the next phase. You know, sometimes we get bored with the monotony. We want the excitement of something new. Being faithful means learning to be monotonous. Learning to embrace the monotonous as well as embracing what is new. You must be joyful because you know this is a new phase. God wants us to move on. It's exciting. It's so scary, but it is exciting. It's not a life of, that is a life of faith. When you don't know, that's a life of faith. Remember this. Ta-da! Reboot, reprogram. We have a master. He has the plan, the master plan. When you learn the monotonous, and your faith is monotonous, and you are open to embrace the new, God will place you where you need to be at the right time. When He needs to, He will intervene to point you in the right direction. God said to Abram, "Know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, where they will be enslaved and oppressed 400 years. But I will also judge the nation whom they will serve, and afterward they will come out with many possessions." This is God revealing part of the master plan to Abram. 400 years, God. 400 years. You know how many babies lived and died and grew up in slavery. But that is part of the master plan. God's timing is perfect. We must trust in Him. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to... Why? Why did the caravan come just at that moment when the brothers had thrown Joseph into the pit? Why? Because of the timing of God. God will cause you to be where you need to be, even if it is a pit, in order to get you into your destiny. Believe that. Believe that He will send a caravan of Ishmaelites just at that moment so that the brothers decide, oh, let's sell him to the slave traders. They thought it was their plan. Right? What did God say? You plan for evil, but God's plan was for good. Even when the things that happen in your life are painful, remember that God has the master plan. Then that even people bathing, even people's dreams, God can intervene it for you. Then the daughter of Pharaoh to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. You think that moment she felt, suddenly, "Ayo, very itchy, I want to go and have a bath in the river." Just at that moment, what happened? Ta-dam, 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 the ark comes floating just at that place, and it gets caught among the reeds. This is your God. He will change circumstances for you. Amen. And what happened? She sent her maid to get it. Opens the thing and sees, the baby pinched Moses nicely, he cried. And it caught her heart. And she took that baby as her own. By accident, even people's bath, God will organize for you. When they are sleeping, God will intervene in that for you. During that night, the king could not sleep. So he gave an order to bring the book of records, the chronicles, and they were read before the king. Who's this? To save Mordecai, God gave the king a dream, and he reads it and he sees, oh, Mordecai has saved me. What have I done for him? Nothing. I want to reward him. And who comes in just at that moment? His nemesis, Mordecai's arch enemy, the one who wanted to kill Mordecai, Haman. Haman, what shall I do? Somebody has pleased me greatly. Oh, I tell you what you do. You take your best horse, You put this person, you put the rope, everything, you put his ring, all that, and you cause one of your great lords to march him around the city. Fantastic plan, lah. Haman, you do it. Oh, yes. For Mordecai, oh no. And this is your God. He causes your arch enemies, your nemesis, to fall before you. It's not your doing. It's your God. Just be faithful in what He has called you to do. And God will turn the circumstances around for you at the right time. At the right time. God is closing Bethel because it is the right time. It is time for us to move out of here. Everything that we have learned is because we are ready for the next phase. No, you may not feel like it, but I assure you, it is time. Because when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who are under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. When the fullness of time comes, God will get into gear. You think that He's not doing anything? I assure you, He knows the right time. And that is why in the 6 months of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, because it was time for the baby to come. And you know, God can change the entire known world for you. He causes Caesar Augustus to decide, I just want to count how many people I have. Issue a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. Why? Because the Savior would be born in the city of David, Bethlehem. When we went to Melbourne, I always say this. You know, we uprooted our children from Perth to Melbourne because we knew God had told us to do something. We go there, and guess what? I'm living in this town because it's close to the church that we were going to help out. And that very year, a school, a Christian college was launched. A branch of a very well-known Christian. And that year they launched their campus in our suburb. And you know how many? 3 minutes from my house. So I know God can change any circumstances. He can make somebody start that school a few years ago because I am going there. I believe that. Though it is not about me, God cares about you. When you play your part in His plan, He will make everything work out. Not how you think it will work out, but He will. When God has trained you, you are ready to move on to the next phase, He will intervene in your circumstances to redirect you. Because Mary was faithful. She had been trained. She was ready. So, train? What training? Huh? She trained to be a good, faithful child to her parents. That's the training she received. She learned from her mother how to be a good mother. When she was ready, the angel comes and tells her in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy and tells her, you will conceive, you will give birth to a son, you will call his name Jesus. Wow! Sometimes when God moves you on to your next phase, your whole world comes crashing down, isn't it? Do you think Joseph thought, hey, God gave me this dream. My mother, my father, all my brothers will bow before me. How did he think the dream will happen? Do you think it involved imprisonment, slavery, betrayal, separation from his beloved father? Do you think he thought that's how the dream would come to pass? It's not your job or my job to work out how will this word come to pass. It's your job and my job to obey. When God tells you to quit your job, your comfortable, stable job, and take a position elsewhere, that may not be something you want to hear. When He tells you stay in your job, forgive your bosses, don't leave, when you have to put up with all these hateful colleagues and don't know what kind of a boss, that may not be something you want to hear. When He tells you to forgive your wife, forgive your husband, forgive your parents, to make amends, that may not be what you want to hear. I'm right, you know. You can intervene in dreams, cause him to have a dream, lah, that he's wrong. Come on, lah, God. You know I'm right. You know all things, what? You know, isn't it? God is not asking you to tell Him what He knows and what He doesn't know. You know you need to forgive. So forgive. Don't wait for the perfect circumstance. When He says, when He shows lah, He's a bit sorry, then I say lah, forgive. When He gives me a gift, then I know He's taking the first step. You make the first step. You be faithful. You obey. You want to find favor with God. You want direction. Obey what He has told you before. Don't wait till I feel good. Then only I do it. No. 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 When you know that God is telling you, Mary didn't ask the angel for time, didn't ask to consult with anyone. I better speak with Joseph. What is he going to sing? She knows the moment has come. She only asks because she doesn't understand how. Now the angel explains how, and then he tells her, your cousin Elizabeth is also going to have a child in her old age. She who is unable to conceive is in a 6th month, for a word from God will never fail. Mary responds. She has to respond, and this is her response. All right, the angel tells her all this. The only part that is relevant to her is the first 2 lines, right? You will conceive, you will give birth to a son, you are to call his name Jesus. The rest, nothing for her to do. He will be great, he will be called the Son of the Most High, the Lord will give him the throne, he will reign over Jacob's descendants, his kingdom will never end. She knows a king is being born to her. But nothing else for her to do except to say, okay, yes. What's her response to the Lord? I am the Lord's servant. No, I just want to be the Lord's friend. After all, He called us friends. No more servants. I'm His lover, not a servant. All your life, you have different parts in that relationship, but He is the master. Recognize that. Will you say, I am His servant? I am your servant. Let everything you have said about me come to pass. But why do you think the angel tells her about Elizabeth? Funny, right? Why tell her about Elizabeth? And I tell you why. God knows we need, when He gives us a word, what do we need? Is it really you, God? We need confirmation. We need to check. We need to know, is it really God? We need to know we're on the right track. We need to know we are part of the master plan, that there are others too who have heard this voice, that there are others who are walking on the same path of faithfulness. God directs you to those who will encourage your faith, who will help you to stay faithful to your call. When He hints, indicates something, move in that direction. The angel didn't tell her about Elizabeth just for no reason, simply mentioning Elizabeth. No. Mary immediately makes preparation to visit her cousin. This is not the same cousin, same age. Mary is about 16, 15. This cousin, the Bible says, was unable to conceive. She is of age, quite elderly. This is a cousin who Mary looks up to. This is a cousin who is not just her cousin. Zechariah and Elizabeth are both from the priestly line of Aaron. They are described as being righteous in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commands and decrees blamelessly. Elizabeth is clearly a spiritual authority in Mary's life, which is why the angel referenced her. Someone who can tell her if what she has seen and heard is true. So immediately she makes preparations. God never tells you everything. He gives us enough clues to assure us that it is Him speaking. And we have seen that many times. He tells us something, we check with our spiritual father, and He says, yes, close Bethel. It is time to move on. So you do what your spiritual father tells you, do. And I want to tell you that sometimes you think, but you know, He also got your parents maybe. You feel your parents don't know enough. I mean, they didn't go to school. How can they know? God will cause them to have a word for you. Don't doubt that. And don't go against the spiritual authorities, the authorities that God has placed in your life. You know, the Bible says, what did Abram do? Our father of faith, when he went to Egypt, what did he tell Sarah? Sarah, you're so beautiful, you know, help me lah. Tell the king, you're my sister. You're my sister. Then they won't take my life. What a joker, right? He's sending his wife to tell the king, going into the king's harem. What do you think the king is going to do to Sarah? She's so beautiful at 75 plus years of age. She's still so beautiful that the king wants her for his own. What did Sarah do? You're a joker, lah, Abraham. I knew I couldn't trust you. I told my parents, don't give me to you. I knew it. You let me down. No. Sarah didn't do that. Sarah just went. The Bible tells us Sarah trusted God and obeyed her husband. The authorities in your life may tell you something that you think is outlaw. Cannot be. Husbands are supposed to protect the wife. But even before Jesus, Paul said, you know, if you really love me, you give your life for me. This joker is making me give my life for him. But yet, what did God do? God protected Sarah. No harm came to her. That was part of God's plan. Because out of that obedience, what happened? The king blessed them with flocks, sheep, goats, and male servants and female servants. Where do you think Hagar came from? From this episode. And if you have listened to the last 3 messages, you know it's not a mistake. Ishmael was not a mistake. You know that. Even the things that you think is not right. If you will just trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, God will work things out for you. And so Mary goes to her spiritual authority. And what happens? Before she has a chance to tell Elizabeth anything, Luke 1:41-45, when Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leapt in her womb. Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit, and in a loud voice she exclaimed, "Blessed are you among women. Blessed is the child you will bear." This before she knows anything. "But why am I so favored that the mother of my Lord should come to me? As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ear, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her." Supernatural encounters will happen when you start walking in the step, the next step, and the next step that God shows you. God may have spoken a word to you, but he will also confirm that word. Bring it to your spiritual authorities. God will speak through them. Mary said yes to the angel, and now she receives the peace in her heart. This is your assignment, God. This is your assignment for me. She says 3 months with her cousin. She bursts into song. This is her song that shows you Mary recognizes that she is part of a master plan. She says, "Your mercy extends from generation to generation." Look at the end. "He has helped his servant Israel." She knows that she is playing a part in a much bigger plan. God will fulfill his promises to the world through you. And Mary moves on to the next phase of the assignment. She's no longer going to be a child. She will soon become a mother. But her journey to motherhood is quite different from others. You think she didn't know it's going to be a scandal? Have you had friends, classmates? You know, there's a scandal in the family. Every time you talk about them, somehow you have to mention the scandal. You know what happened when they were born. 20, 30 years later, you still mention the scandal. Because why? You know you have to tell people. That's your job, right? Somehow, you think she didn't know that this scandal would follow her all her life long? The questions over her integrity, whether she was really a virgin. You think people don't know? Every time you'll calculate what? The child is, 7 months after they got married, they had a child. Full term. You know, we are always doing and prying into, but the scandal follows, and she knew. You know, she knew. We all have different journeys. Just like Mary's journey to motherhood was different. Each one of our journeys are different. But one thing we have in common, what is that? We have a... I can't hear you. We have a... He has the master plan. And in Joseph and Mary's life, the next encounter they have is at the baby's birth. There's a decree, tam-taram, we all sang just now, right? The angels hark, the heralds, whatever. They travel to Bethlehem because of Augustus Caesar. There are many supernatural events. The angel's announcement, the shepherd's visit, the declaration by Simeon and Anna. When they went into the temple, Simeon said, "This is the child I've been waiting for. This is the salvation of Israel." When he was brought to be circumcised at 8 days old. A few years later, the wise kings come from the east. They have arrived to pay homage to this young son. He's not a baby. The shepherds and kings didn't come at the same time. A few years later, they have been following the star that signified his birth. There are signs in the heavens. There are signs on the earth. Then Joseph receives a warning. Herod is seeking to kill your child. Flee to Egypt. And he goes to Egypt. Then when Herod is dead, he receives another dream. Go back, because those who are seeking to kill him are dead. Mary would have treasured all these things in her heart. Now, there are seasons in our lives when we read suddenly so many words, confirmations, this and that, right? It's like, I always say, it's like the GPS. When you're going to make one crucial turn, suddenly, in 100 yards, turn left, 50 yards, turn left now. Why? If you don't turn left, one big, long way, 30 kilometers you have to go before you can U-turn. That is God's timing. If there's something that's very crucial, there is a timing in God. And if He needs you to take this turn now, He will give a lot of signs. God has given a lot of signs. You know, Pastor shared last week. Not recorded, but he shared a lot of things that have happened. So those of you who were here last week, you know, without a doubt, it is time for us to move. But then, there are seasons in our life when nothing, not one word from God. You know, because once we are safely on the track, okay I don't have to tell you anything. Just go on this track, just keep going. That's God. He doesn't tell you, remember, He doesn't tell you every day, okay, wear green. Today, green is a good color. Tomorrow, white shoes, fantastic. God is not like that. Don't look at your horoscope, perfect color, best stone, all that. It doesn't work that way. And He doesn't tell you every day this and that. When there are seasons when He has to tell you, you'll have a lot. There will often be seasons of silence in your life. This doesn't mean, God, you're not leading me anymore. How come you didn't speak to me in church? Somebody next to me crying like nobody's business. Nothing's happening to me. What has He already told you? Are you doing that? Doesn't mean that God is abandoning you. Just keep faithfully doing what He has given you to do. Don't give up. Don't be like people who need God to speak to them every moment. You know, look at the patriarchs. God speaks to Abram, then 25 years later, nothing. You will think, did I really hear God? I'm going to be a father of many. I think I ate too much lah. That's why I had the dream. You know, beyond that, we don't hear of any other angelic visitations, no other words from the Lord, no more dreams that we are told of. Yet she and Joseph faithfully serve out their roles. Their orders are be parents. Have this baby and be parents. By the way, some people think Mary had the baby and that's it. Finish lah her role. I had a baby lah. Conceive, birth. Son of the Most High, that's it. My job is over. Hello, when you have a baby, those of you who are parents know, right? It's a long-term job. Very long-term. It's not a glamorous role. And I just want you to know, in case you didn't know, no angels came to help them with the housework. No angels came to help them with the constant feeding, cleaning the poop, cleaning the house. They did all of that with the wisdom God had given them. And under their obedient and faithful hands, the Bible tells us Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and favor with God and with man. You know, that didn't happen. Jesus was born by the wayside and suddenly grew into a man with wisdom and favor and stature. God chose these parents for Him. God has chosen you to parent some people. He has chosen you to be a child to some family. He has chosen you to have a role, to play. What has God entrusted into your care? Because He entrusted His Son into Joseph and Mary's faithful, tender care. What has God entrusted into your care? Children? A partner? A ministry? A job? Clients? Gifts and talents? A calling? Are they being nurtured and used and honed faithfully, obediently? Will you wait patiently for the timing of God? Or will you throw in the towel because it's too hard? My goodness, God, these children are so difficult. I can't take it anymore. I leave them into your care. God, my wife is too high maintenance. I cannot. My husband is so irresponsible. I am wearing the pants in the family, God. My job is the pits. I cannot believe you would lead me here, God. This boss from hell. Have those words crossed your mouth? Because we think if we are following God, everything will be cushy, fantastic. Then only that means you're following God. Sorry. Your journey with God can at times be exhilarating and heart-stopping, filled with laughter and joy. And at times it can be monotonous, painful, but always the training and guiding and leading and crafting and molding. God is doing something in your life. His purpose and plan doesn't end here on earth. You're being shaped for what? To rule and reign for eternity. Your job doesn't end here on earth. Every one of us has got different training. During those seasons of prolonged silence, what do? Just keep following what He has directed you before. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep moving. Just keep moving faithfully until you get your next instruction. If God has told you something, don't delay in obeying it. Abram rose up early in the morning. Mary went immediately to see Elizabeth. Beyond the episode when he's 12 years old, when Jesus tells his parents he is about his father's business, there's no more word. For 18 years, nothing changes. During those 30 years, do you think Joseph and Mary would have talked to each other about the angels? How the kings came? But he did the same as all the other brothers and sisters, no different. Do you think they would have thought, is this true? Is he going to be great? Is he the son of the Most High? Will he be a king? Do you think that Mary had any idea what he would do? Because Joseph died, right? Eventually she was alone. She was a widow. That he would heal the sick. That he would challenge the religious vanguard, the religious establishment. That he would be a celebrity. She's the son of a celebrity. That thousands would flock to her son. During those 30 quiet years, do you think she would have questioned how this would be? How can this be? Have you ever looked back on the words that God has told you? And every one of you, God has spoken something into your life. And you wonder, looking at your life right now, how can it be? Especially when nothing seems to be happening. You realize it's not as you were thought, but God is shaping you even in your quiet years. At first, Mary must have thought like the other disciples, Jesus is going to establish his kingdom. He is going to overthrow the Roman oppressors. And he's going to get rid of those who are in cahoots with them. She knows her son. He's able to make a difference wherever he goes. In fact, she was instrumental in Jesus' first miracle. They went for a wedding with her son. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "Son, they have no more wine." Why is she telling him that? And Jesus said to her, by the way, woman is not downgrading the mother. No, it's a term of respect. What does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. You think that stopped the mother? Do whatever he tells you. Of course, you told in front of Jesus. So what does the son do? He has his first miracle. He changed water into wine at the wedding of Cana, Jesus' first miracle. And Mary was instrumental in that. So she knows, this is my son, okay. She would have told the neighbors, when they had trouble, what do you do? My son fixed the problem, man. Whose son? My son. But as time goes by, the things he does challenges her ideas. First of all, she's calling Matthew. Hey, Matthew is a tax collector. Come on, lah, Jesus. You got to choose the right people. You know, Judas was good. He knows the politics. He's a zealot, is he? He knows. The rest are fishermen. What? I better talk to him. You know. And when Jesus is gaining prominence. You know, and suddenly the authorities get upset with him. Do you think a mother's heart is worried? The Roman authorities are out to get her son? Do you think she's worried for her son, her firstborn, her beloved boy? You know, when Jesus is gaining prominence, we hear of mothers using their influence to get their sons to be the left and the right. When he come into your kingdom, make sure my sons are on the left and on the right. Do you remember those mothers? There's no record beyond this first miracle. There's no record of Mary using her influence to stop Jesus from taking the journey he took. Even when the face of his journey turned from cherished and popular to despised and hated. She may have tried. We don't know. You know, there is an account of Mary trying to see her son. While Jesus was still speaking to the crowds, his mother and brothers stood outside wanting to speak to him. And someone told him, look, your mother and brothers are standing outside wanting to speak to you. So, of course, she knows. I mean, once they tell your mother is here, straight away you'll stop and come, isn't it? Who is my mother? Who are my brothers? He points to his disciples and he says, here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my mother, my brother, my sister, my mother. What do you think the mother would have thought when she heard that? They relayed the news to Jesus said, mother and brother are there, the disciples. Hey, this is the baby, you know. The boy that I breastfed. The child, the young man that I and Joseph taught. I schooled him all these years. Joseph taught him everything he knew about being a carpenter. I taught him his ABCs. How to walk, how to run, how to be a man of integrity, how to obey. I taught him all these things. What do you think it was like for Mary to hear those words? Mary begins to realize that her role in her son's life has changed. She's being moved on to the next phase. Sometimes something painful like that moves you on to your next phase. When your role changes, it is difficult sometimes to accept a change in your role towards someone that is so closely associated with you. Maybe they are no longer your colleague, now they are your boss. Maybe they are no longer just your brother, they are the prime minister of the whole empire of Egypt. Maybe they are not just my younger brother, they are a deliverer of millions, the nation of Israel. Maybe they are not just my younger brother David, my youngest brother David. He is now the king of all Israel. What will you do when your role changes? When God says, no longer, this is no longer your role. Will you throw a tantrum? Will you say, I've been trained all these years to be his mother. Now is the time he needs me most. I have to counsel him. I have to tell him, he shouldn't listen to that person. I got the gut feeling. Mary didn't abandon her son. Mary didn't chastise her son. Mary did not rebuke her son like Peter. Mary didn't subtly direct her son. Mary was with him right to the very end. Even when her heart was pierced, to the very end, Jesus cared for his mother. As he's dying, he looks to John and he tells her, woman, behold your son. What is going through Mary's mind? How can this be the kingdom? Did I hear all that? Is it really true? Did it really happen? You know, the words of the angel must have rung through her whole being, mocking her as she looks on her dying son. This is the Son of the Most High? This is the great? This is how you will give him the throne of his father David? How can he reign over Jacob's descendants forever? How can? This kingdom surely will end with death. I doubt if in all those 33 years Mary thought for one moment that this gruesome death on the cross at the hands of his own people was how her son's life would end. You know, Jesus says, "Come follow me." But if you are following Jesus, rest assured your journey, like Mary's, will take many twists and turns and detours. There will be times when the very words you believed were from God seem to be mocking you. When you are in the pit, when you are in prison, when you are laboring day in and day out without recognition, the words of the Lord. The devil uses the words of the Lord to mock you. But if you keep moving on, faithfully doing what he has put in your hands to do, if you remember that you have a master, he has the plan, the master plan, then not only will you complete your assignment here on earth, not only will you complete your part in the master plan, not only will you live at 20, at 30, at 40, you will live at 100. Thank you. You will enjoy the ride if you trust him fully. If you look at this picture, you will see that I am not a roller coaster person. My son and my husband, they are roller coaster people. But you know something? God doesn't want you to endure your life, to endure your ride. He wants you to enjoy the ride. Embrace this new phase of your life. What God is moving you into is exciting. Let go of this structure that he has let you have for 3.5 years. This was a structure. He is going to break this scaffold now because you are ready for your next phase. You don't need this structure anymore. God is with you forever, not Bethel. God is with you forever, wherever you go, wherever his journey with you takes you, because he is your master. He has the plan, the master plan. You know, as we close Bethel and move on to the next phase of our assignment, remember this. Please remember these words. That's what I want to share with you. Because I know he has given you a word many years ago, and he may have reminded you again recently. And you don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know what the next phase. We just know right now we have to close. Then the next phase happens. If you don't close this door, you cannot open the next door. The next door does not open until this door behind you shuts. Get rid of all the fear. The devil will tell you, "Oh, you don't know what's going to happen." Yeah, I don't know, but my master knows. And I'm following this master. I'm not following a club. I'm not following a society. I'm not following a group. I'm not following a church. I am following this God, my master, my spirit guide forever. He is the spirit who is with you forever. Remember that. He's the only one who knows the big picture, the final outcome. You will never be 100% certain. But will you trust him with all your heart? Will you say, "Yes, I am the Lord's servant"? Like Mary, you have the plan, the master plan. You are my master. Let everything you have said about me come to pass. So don't worry, take the step. Get on the roller coaster. You got your ticket ready. Get on the roller coaster. You'll have a lot of other people to enjoy the ride with you. Some roller coasters are very scary. You know the part where you're going up. Ting, 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 ting. It's okay, not so frightening. And then, woo! It's scary then. But your guide is always with you. Always with you. So as we close, I want you to listen to this song, the same song the children sang earlier. But watch and see. Remember, Mary did not know. Just like you do not know. But if He has spoken a word to you, just obey that word. Because we have a master. He has the plan, the master plan.
Mary, my betrothed, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen, and the sweetest smile.
Don't be afraid.
I'm the Lord's servant.
Help us! Please!
Lady, I believe your son is the promised king of his people. What is his name?
His name is Jesus.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy
Baptize me.
has come to make you new?
Mary,
And
he's
this
here.
child that you delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to the blind man?
Peter,
Mary,
where's my
did
son?
you know that your baby boy would calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels try? And when you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Oh, Mary, did you know?
my son.
Mary, did you know? The blind will see, the deaf will hear,
It is you.
the dead will live again.
Come out of him.
The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of
Who are you?
Mary, did you know?
Tell me who you are.
That your baby boy is Lord
I am
of
Jesus.
all creation. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? And the sleeping child you're holding is the great I am.
Very emotional, but the one point I want to make is we do not know the outcome. But will we say, like Mary, I am the Lord's servant? Let everything you have said about me come to pass.